I still remember that night. Emma, my fiancée, told me my mom couldn't come to our wedding. She just couldn't. It hurt. But what came next, it broke everything I believed in. Our family fell apart in a week, and the truth I learned about my mom, it turned my world upside down. It was a week before the wedding, and I felt like the world was spinning out of control. Emma and I had been planning our dream wedding for almost a year. I should have been on cloud 9, but instead I was crushed. The constant arguments, the phone calls, the threats, all because of my mom, Linda. She's always been difficult, I knew that. Since childhood, she's been incredibly demanding, but I always thought it was because she just loved me so much. But her attitude towards Emma, that was something else. She criticized everything. Emma's dress, the wedding cake, even the vegan options we ordered for my uncle from Denver. I tried to explain it to Emma. Mom's just worried. She wants everything to be perfect. I didn't see that it wasn't concern, but real aggression. And I didn't understand that she'd been waging a secret war for a long time. One day, after another argument, Emma looked me in the eyes and said my mom couldn't come to our wedding. I was in shock. It's my mom. She gave me her whole life. How could I choose? Emma, you can't. She's my mom. That's all I could say. And then she whispered, "There are things you don't know about your mother." I waited for an explanation, but she didn't say a word. I thought it was just pre-wedding stress. I didn't want to believe my mom was capable of something so bad. It was too complicated for me. So I chose not to believe her. And that was the biggest mistake of my life. The war started right away. My mom didn't wait. She called all our relatives, her friends. She told them Emma had ruined our family. She told stories about me being manipulated, about Emma separating me from my mom. "I don't know what she did to you, but you can't choose her over your mother," my Aunt Karen said on the phone. My relatives were on her side, and I couldn't blame them since they only knew her version of the events. I watched as it hurt Emma. Her eyes were sad, but she held on. I even heard her friend, Olivia, trying to figure out what was happening. "Emma, if she really did you so wrong, why don't you just say what happened?" Olivia asked her. But Emma didn't answer. She said it was too complicated. I didn't know what she meant, and I couldn't understand her silence. I thought she was afraid of ruining our reputation, but in reality, she was protecting my family. She thought if she told me the truth, I might not be able to handle it. I was confused. I was angry, but I was on my mom's side. I trusted her because she was my mom. She was always with me. I couldn't imagine she was capable of something so horrible, but I was ready to pay any price to find out what was really going on. I couldn't take it anymore. It was just a part of the story, and I was ready for the truth. I tried to ignore it, but the chaos was unbearable. Every day I got messages from friends asking why only half the family was invited to the wedding. "Jake, are you sure you want this wedding?" my best friend Lisa asked me, hinting that the atmosphere was already spoiled. I was at my limit. I felt like the wedding, which was supposed to be a celebration of our love, had turned into a battlefield. I couldn't sleep at night, trying to figure out what was happening. I called Emma to ask what she thought, but she just said everything was fine. I was scared and confused, and I couldn't understand why she wouldn't tell me what happened. I felt like I was in the middle of a storm, and I didn't know where it came from. Just a few days before the wedding, I found out that half of my mom's relatives had refused to come to the wedding. It was a shock. My parents were also putting pressure on me. "Jake, either you explain what's going on or we're canceling the wedding," my dad said over the phone, his voice full of disappointment. "Tell us the truth, son," he asked me, not even knowing what had happened. I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. I walked into Emma's room and told her I couldn't bear it anymore. "Emma, either you explain what's going on or I'm canceling the wedding." I felt my heart breaking into pieces. I couldn't imagine our love could be so fragile. I can't lie to people anymore. I can't take this anymore. I don't want to lose my mom, but I don't want to lose you. I said it, and I was ashamed. Emma lowered her head, and then, taking a deep breath, looked me straight in the eyes. There was no anger in her gaze, just exhaustion and endless sadness. I knew she was about to tell me the truth she had been hiding for so long. She started to speak, her voice low but clear. She told me about that day 3 months ago when she went to my mom's house to discuss wedding details. She walked in and overheard my mom on the phone with her sister, my Aunt Karen. Emma stopped and overheard my mom bragging, "I found a way to break them up. Wait until she takes him from me. Then I'll show her the real me." She told me my mom had been collecting dirt on her for a year. She found her old photos, read her private messages, and even talked to her exes to find some juicy details. My mom planned to publicly humiliate Emma at the wedding to save me from her. My heart stopped. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't just humiliation, it was betrayal. I always thought my mom loved me, but her love was toxic. It was about control, and she was willing to destroy my happiness to keep me in her life. I was stunned. I had no words. It wasn't just a story. It was the end of my faith in my mom. I felt like my whole world had been turned upside down. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to believe. I was confused. I was angry, and I felt betrayed. I remained silent while Emma told me everything. She showed me the recordings of the calls and the texts she'd found. I looked at them and couldn't believe it. This wasn't just difficult behavior, it was betrayal, cold-blooded and cruel. I felt everything inside me collapsing. My mom, the woman I had loved and trusted my whole life, turned out to be a different person. I grabbed my car keys and told Emma I had to talk to my mom. She tried to stop me, but I knew I had to do it. I drove to her house, and she came out to meet me. I could see she was surprised by my visit. She smiled, but her smile was fake. "Hi, son. What's wrong?" she asked. I looked her straight in the eyes, and I couldn't believe I had been so blind for so long. "Mom, what did you do?" I asked. She tried to squirm out of it, but I cut her off. "I know everything. I know you were collecting dirt on Emma. I know you wanted to ruin our wedding." Her face went pale. "How did you find out?" she asked, and I saw she didn't feel guilt, just anger. She started to make excuses, but I couldn't listen to her anymore. I realized her love was toxic. She didn't want my happiness. She wanted to control my life. I went back to Emma and told her I believed her. We decided the wedding would happen, but without the family. It was tough, but we knew it was the right decision. On the wedding, there were only our friends. It was a small but sincere evening. We were together, and that was all that mattered. I couldn't believe my family could turn away from me like that. But I also knew I couldn't live in a lie. Several months have passed, but that day is still vivid in my mind. The wedding happened, and it was probably the most sincere evening of my life. Only people who truly loved us were there. The friends who supported Emma when I was blind, and my parents, who, even if they didn't fully understand the situation, still came because they believed in me. Since that day, I've learned to live a new life. My relationship with my mom has changed forever. I realized her love was toxic, that she didn't want my happiness but control, and I set clear boundaries. I still love her, but I don't allow her to interfere with my life. I can't change her, but I can change my attitude towards her. Emma got the support she deserved. She was the hero of this story, but she also regretted not telling me the truth sooner. Maybe if I had told you everything right away, we would have avoided this nightmare, she told me once. But I know that's not true. I wasn't ready for the truth. I couldn't imagine my mom was capable of something so horrible. I had to come to that realization myself. This story taught me an important lesson. Toxic family dynamics can destroy everything. However, we can establish boundaries and safeguard our own interests. It's not easy, but it's necessary. I'm glad we went through it together. We became stronger, our love grew, and we realized that sometimes you have to give up on keeping the peace to protect yourself. Was it right to hide the reason for so long? Was there a better way to handle the conflict?